Now let's talk a little Yankees. 2-3 since the last show. 1-1 versus Texas. 1-2 versus Houston. They are 3-7 in their last 10, 62-56 overall. 6.5 back of Toronto, 2.5 back of Boston for wild card 2, 3.5 back of Seattle for wild card 1. We are a half game up on Cleveland though for wild card 3, and that's not counting today's game where they beat the Twins. Again, just what the doctor ordered, playing the Twins. The Yankees have won about 75% of their games since 2001 versus Minnesota. So if there was ever a get-right series, this needs to be it.
Yeah, I agree. The team has been not good. The managing has been worse. The bullpen misuse, mismanagement has been terrible. Devin Williams hasn't been what the Yankees traded for, and I'm not making any excuses for him. His manager hasn't put him in positions to succeed either.
No, he needs to be the long reliever mop-up man just to regain confidence at this point.
And I don't know if Aaron Boone was slow to the punch, if it was just a stroke of luck that he finally did just use him in the 6th inning or what. But that 6th inning he had versus Houston was nice. That is where he needs to be. Low leverage, come in, relieve the starter, throw some airbender, changeups, throw some gas, and keep the ball moving.
We both know, though, that he's going to be an all-star closer for some American League competitor next year.
Sure. But for this year, let's get what we can out of the guy and get him in the middle. You know, at the end of the day, Aaron Judge coming back, likely to play the field by the next time we record. The lineup's getting right. The lineup, fingers crossed. But we get Judge back in the outfield, and the lineup will be healthy and at its best for the first time all season. We did talk about where this team is at in terms of World Series contenders. They're not in my Tier 1 group. They're not the first team I would pick out of the AL.
Who is in your Tier 1 group?
For the whole MLB or just the AL?
Just the AL.
Just the AL, I would have Houston sitting alone as my Tier 1 team. And I think that everybody else is kind of Tier 2. For the MLB as a whole.
He's in the same tier as like the Red Sox.
I would put the whole AL East in that tier, and then the same with the Mariners and Tigers. I just think that Houston healthy, especially as well, it's hard to bet against them. But everybody else, I think, has a puncher's chance. And the Yankees punch with their lineup, you could argue, at its best is the hardest hitting of any of those teams in Tier 2. At the end of the day, Aaron Judge is the best player in the AL, and if he can get back to right with what Cody Bellinger has done this year, Giancarlo Stanton, Jazz Chisholm, Ben Rice, like even as bad as Volpe's been, you are 1 through 9 a home run threat at every at bat. And when you have that kind of pop, that kind of power, the starting pitching has been better, and the bullpen has the arms to work out. You could have a World Series team. Do I think it will be? No. But is it a 0% shot? No, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I didn't think we were either last year. I didn't think we were a World Series team.
I did.
They proved me wrong, at least, and I feel weirdly better about the team right now than I did during their worst parts last year, and especially during their worst run in 2022, where they fell apart in the worst I've ever seen. And I think that's also because if you look at their roster, what would you really change going into next year?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think bringing Garrett Cole back healthy is obviously just kind of a huge thing for this team, because then everybody kind of fits in a better spot, in my opinion. Cole, Fried, Rodon, Luis Heel, Will Warren, Cam Schlittler. You have 6 guys there that you feel like, hey, those guys could pitch on any day, and it doesn't mean a big loss. The one thing I want to point out for the Yankees is kind of their schedule the rest of the way. It's not very tough. They have this Minnesota series at St. Louis, at Tampa Bay, Boston, a 4-game set. Obviously, that'll be good. But then it's Washington, White Sox, and then you go through a tough stretch of Houston, Toronto, Detroit, Boston. But then they close out the year with Minnesota, 4-game set Baltimore, White Sox, 3-game set Baltimore. At the end of the year there, the Yankees could go in to playoff baseball very hot based on those teams that they're facing. It's a little ways away, but in terms of predicting outlook, the Yankees are wild card 3 right now.
Right.
But this is why I'm not concerned about where they are in the standings currently.
I would be shocked if they missed the playoffs still. I think just with how light the end of the year is. And I think that's probably the best, case for them is, they sucked up until this point. They struggled. They have a soft landing to really get themselves rolling, get themselves hot. And then they can take on some of those better teams in October. The Boston series next week is going to be really telling.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the biggest litmus test.
I mean, I don't know if we get there. A Boston-New York playoff series would be electric.
Especially since, I think we were both
They're so equal
coming into the season.
They're so equal, the two teams right now, in terms of what they could be at their highs. Crochet versus Fried, battle of two great pitchers. The lineups both have a ton of pop. I think it would be a really, really fun playoff series.